have 800 unread chats on WhatsApp.
That's
800
crazy.
plus.
I don't even think I have those many people who want to talk to me.
It's like you actually
Yes.
practice what you preach, that you do work 4 hours a day, because
Under 4 hours.
under 4 hours.
I just
less
like,
than
I
4
put
hours.
4 so I don't sound too nikamma.
I am. I think I'm just always on Instagram. My screen time is like 8 hours.
Oh god, that's
Or
crazy.
more.
I
Like
don't
force quit
leave
thing.
any notification also. Like there's not like 100 email or 100 WhatsApp message or 100 text message. I'm pleasantly shocked.
Unpleasantly shocked.
So I used to actually visualize that I'm just sitting near the mountains on my laptop. I don't even, as such, I'm not a fan of the mountains because I studied there for 5 years. So whenever my nani is here, we're always watching all movies that release and we're always doing that on a week.
Hi everyone, welcome to episode 2 of Girl Talk with me, Priyam Narayan. I'm a digital marketer, a founder, and I'm joined by my very dear friend today, Niharikaa Kaur Sodhi, who's a content creator, a writer, and an author, and one of my favorite humans on the planet, basically. Aww. So, Niharika, you've been LinkedIn top voice. You've featured on the New York Times Square. You've also been running a very successful content-based cohort on LinkedIn. You want to tell us how you got into this, how you started, and how's your journey been so far?
I mean, so when I started, I wasn't anticipating any of this to happen. I just wanted to become a freelance writer. And how that happened was just side hustling, basically writing on Medium, applying for jobs on Upwork, and then getting clients. So what I do today wasn't a part of the plan. It just like happened. One thing followed another, and more than that, I just kept showing up consistently. So I guess it's a result of all of that.
And I think you used to write on Quora, and that started
Oh
picking
God, I
up.
don't want to think of. I
remember
don't want to think
Quora.
of it. That's cringe.
I remember the Quora
Yes,
days.
that was
and,
my undergrad days.
and you used to get a lot of responses and a lot of like upvotes. What do we do on Quora? That's right.
Yeah, it was upvotes.
It
I
was
think.
upvotes
Yeah.
on Quora. And like, do you still do
No,
Quora?
I haven't
No?
opened it in years. I don't even want to. I don't want anyone listening to this also opening it.
Please, everyone, please open Niharikaa Sodhi's Quora and see what she used to write. But you are big on Twitter as well. I know you do a lot of stuff on Twitter. LinkedIn is a mixed bag of solopreneur, sorry.
Yeah.
Yes, you call yourself a solopreneur. And you run this content-based cohort where people join the cohort to learn on
Yeah.
how they can become an online writer or
Consistent, right?
consistent writer that starts paying them eventually.
So everyone has different goals. Like there are some people who are so high up in the ladder that they just want to become a thought leader. And then there are some people who just want to write for fun. So not everyone's aim is to make a living or even an income stream out of it. So everyone has different goals, but they sort of need the same foundation, which is being consistent.
And how does this running an online, technically, can we call it a course? Is it like
Yeah, it's a
course?
cohort-based course, yeah.
And then do they get like a certification or something?
Yeah,
at the
I think
end
I
of it?
forgot to send certificates through like last 1 year of batches. Yeah.
But they do get certificates at the end of it.
Yeah, they used to.
So I know you post a lot of testimonials, and I have stalked you thoroughly. I'm one of her avid readers and followers and fans, come friend. But and I know you've actually made an impact on the people who have joined your course. Do you want to tell us on? You don't have to let us know the contents of the course, but how does it work? Like, do you reach out to them via your? I know you have a newsletter, but just take us through for someone who would want to do this, and how does this work in case they want to ever get down this journey.
So if somebody wants to start, I would say the first time you should do it for free and test it on your audience. Because for me, this was really random. I just had like an ACL reconstruction, both my knees. I was really bored and I was feeling low. And the only thing I tweeted out, and that time, I think I had like 500-ish followers or something, that does anyone want me to help them with writing consistently? I thought maybe 3-4 people will respond, right? But we got like over 120 responses.
Out of the 500 people.
Yeah, or like maybe some could be like a chain reaction, not exactly my followers. And then I DM'd and we got 80 Google form responses, out of which I chose 40 people across 20 countries. So I taught them for free. And then I took their testimonials and then I published a course like with a price tag on it. So what I'm trying to say is that sometimes we think that something would work out, but it doesn't. So it's better to test it on someone and collect social proof, because if there's no social proof, nobody will buy anything. So and collect social proof and then put it with a price tag. So how we go about it now, like how the funnel is that people kind of know about Summit 21 because we've had 11 cohorts.
Yeah.
Also because we've had really big speakers, right from say Ankur Warikoo to Justin Welsh, Sahil Bloom. These are really big names out there. So I do talk about it on my newsletter. I sometimes also talk about it on LinkedIn, but I so far haven't reached out to someone to come and join in. And we've sold out 10 out of 11 times.
It's insane. And how long? What's the duration of the?
It's 3 weeks, and we
wow.
have one call a week. And apart from that, since a year, I also launched a kickoff call to get people warmed up and 2 guest sessions.
That's insane. And like looking back to when we started from Zomato,
Yeah.
Niharikaa was in recruitment, I was in marketing, and I think just randomly, I don't know how we became friends. And seeing you come from that to this, it's been a journey. Like from recruitment to now
I
content
know.
writing, and then content writing has always been like I
yeah,
think
yeah, yeah. I always loved writing. I mean, I've been writing since I was maybe in second grade, so I've always enjoyed writing.
like you always had it as a side hustle, but now it's a side hustle that pays.
Yeah, I didn't always even have it as a side hustle because I just did it for fun. So you know,
Yeah.
when I was on Instagram, it was still
Yeah.
very content like text heavy posts that I used to put up back then because I really enjoyed writing, and I
Yeah.
always thought that I got a really good response for it all the time, that it makes people feel things, but I never thought it could be something. I just thought it's a hobby.
Yeah. Good segue from Instagram because
I know.
when I met you, you had 10,000 followers
Yeah.
on Instagram. You used to post about travel, healthy living,
Food. Yeah.
guilt-free eating.
I
And then
know.
one day she decided to just chuck her Instagram. You let that account go. You deactivated it. It's been deactivated for a
Yes.
while now.
4
And
years.
4 years. So, I mean, I don't know when they permanently delete it,
Yeah,
maybe.
or 3 years. Oh, they do permanently delete
I
it?
think
I didn't know
if you don't
that.
open it for a while, yeah.
Oh,
But then, why did you do that? And what
So I
made you?
didn't do that. It's just like my phone died
Yeah,
randomly
then
while
one day,
working.
yeah.
So so I thought I don't want to lose my algorithm and my followers by not posting. So I just went online and deactivated it. But then I just felt so nice and calm and peaceful that I just never thought of getting it back. I don't even use the Instagram app on my phone, you know
Yeah.
that. I just like download it and then delete it again. I just find it really toxic.
Yeah, Niharika has a pattern on Instagram. Like she'll delete the app, then one day, once a week, or whenever it's her Instagram usage day, she'll come on and then she'll just stalk all her friends, like whatever they've done. You're like, oh, are you back? Were you on holiday? What happened? Like then she'll just get like all the life
Also because
updates.
everyone's on mute on my Instagram, so I like
Oh,
manually
yeah,
have to
that's
open
just
profiles
one
and
thing.
show my love.
Oh yeah, this one time Niharika showed me her Instagram and I'm like, dude, what, you don't follow anybody or what? Like, why is your this thing empty? Like the story
Yeah.
panel. She's like, I've put everyone on mute. I'm like,
Yeah, because I don't need to. I like a platform shouldn't decide what I'm doing there. Only I should decide what I'm doing on my phone.
yeah, I think that's just one thing where I am so taken aback by how she views Instagram because Instagram is my like
Yeah.
bread and butter. So I
Yeah,
make
you're
money
one
off
of my
Instagram.
first story viewers.
Yeah, I am. I think I'm just always on Instagram. My screen time is like 8 hours a
Oh
day.
God, that's crazy.
Or more, 8 to 10
I
hours
think
a
when mine touched 8 once, I really judged myself. I'm not judging you. I'm just like
yeah,
talking about myself.
it's my work, so it's fine. Like I work on Instagram, but yeah. Anyway, you call yourself a solopreneur.
Yeah.
You wanna tell us what that means to you and how you embody that career today?
So essentially what it means is a one-person business. I don't want to be an entrepreneur. I don't want to be responsible for like 5 people or 50 people. It's too much of responsibility. And I think how I learned the term was from somewhere on Twitter, but then Justin Welch also talks about it often. And yeah, it's just a one-person business because I don't need to hire people to do things for me full time. Sometimes obviously I do hire on a contract for a particular project or if I need to like outsource something specific. But I'm okay doing everything on my own and it's not so time consuming because I'm not doing too many things at once.
Yeah.
So solopreneur is just a one person business because now I kind of am an entrepreneur because I have various things that I'm doing,
Yeah.
but it's just me in this organization.
And you write about and you practice, like you actually
Yes.
practice what you preach, that you do work 4 hours a day because
Under 4 hours.
under 4 hours.
I just like,
less than
I
4
put
hours.
4 so I don't sound too nikamma. But sometimes it's
But
just
I
like
would
2
love
and a
to be
half.
this sort of a nikamma man, like where I'm working like under 4 hours a day and I get time
Yeah.
to do everything else in my life. Because that's something that I really get inspired by how you deal because like you actually have a work-life balance.
Yeah, I have like a huge balance.
Yeah, and like in
I
this
definitely have more life than work.
100% because in this world where everyone's promoting the hustle culture,
Yeah.
you are actively talking against it. How like do you get a lot of like toxic trolls whatever on on LinkedIn
For
saying
this, I always get support because I think internally it's what people want, but either they can't talk about it or they're overworked, so they want some balance. At least they
yeah,
want 8 hours and not 12.
yeah,
So I do not get trolled for it. I actually get really supportive messages for it and the same feeling that, oh, I wish I could do this too. And then I just say, yes, you can. Ultimately, your life, your work has to be around your life because it's a part of your life. Also, the 8 hour workday, it came in like many years ago by Henry Ford, and times have changed, technology's improved, but still organizations still want the most out of their resources. So we are still working 8 hours when we don't need to, but that's normalized.
that's normalized,
What
yeah,
I keep talking about is that you need to know who you are and then mold things accordingly. Some of my friends, they're so energetic, they would never want a 4 hour workday.
yeah, that's me,
They would want to do something. Some
yeah,
of them love working from home, but some of them love jumping around in the office and walking from one place to another. Some love a field job
yeah,
where they're traveling a lot, but some do not like it. So it's not about what's right or what's wrong, but figure out who you are and what you like and then mold your life according to that.
yeah. I think that's also one of the reasons why when we read your posts and whatever you write it makes us feel nice because ultimately I think that's the
Yeah.
goal.
Yeah,
Like
it's just that I don't want to wait for a certain time and then be like, okay, now I'm going to travel, now I'm going to spend time with my family because
yeah,
my parents are never going to be this young again, right? And also, I once read on a newsletter, I think it was Ankur Wariku's, that how many weekends do you have left with your parents and is that enough? The answer is no, it's not enough.
I have
So the
goosebumps.
fact that I can meet them whenever I want to, so whenever my nani's here, we're always watching all movies that release and we're always doing that on a weekday. The fact that I can do it, I'm not trading 5 days to live for 2 days.
Yeah.
That means more than anything else to me. So no amount of money or working more and making more wealth will bring me this time. So I want to live it while I can.
Yeah. And LinkedIn is a growing platform. Like
Yeah.
everyone I know is achieving something. Like you open LinkedIn, you start feeling bad about your life. I feel because I'm like, dude, everyone's an achiever.
That's
What
with
am
all
I doing?
platforms. When you open
That is with all.
Instagram,
Yeah,
also
you
you
feel
feel
bad about
bad.
you're not living enough. On LinkedIn, you're like you're not doing enough, like
Achieving, yeah.
professionally. But how did you find your niche? Like, did you realize that okay, this is what works for me? Was there like a turning point where you realized?
So I believe that you should let your niche find you. Because I thought my niche is health and fitness because even
Yeah.
you have seen me talk about it for so long, but I suddenly did not like to talk
Yeah,
about it
and
all
that's
the
something
time.
you do personally a lot. Like you are
Yes.
super
But I
conscious
don't
about
like to talk about it just as much. So I think like if you talk about whatever you want to, ultimately you're not going to talk about 10 things.
Yeah.
You'll eventually come down to 2 or 3 things, and that is your niche. So that's something that I even tell my students that if you want to write about 10 things, go for it. 3 months later, that 10 will become 5. 6 months later, it's going to become 2 or 3 or maybe 1. But
Yeah.
it's not going to be 5 or 10.
And now you've been writing online for 3 years, almost
Yeah.
4 years
I
now.
mean, yeah, like
Cons-
seriously.
yeah, like full
Yeah.
time,
Yeah.
like almost 3 years now. What do you think are the biggest challenges that people face when they try to write online and then make money out of it? Like if some was like are there challenges like because if like I'm just thinking how like on Instagram, you know how the content is saturated. Everyone is
Yeah.
making reels on that one song. Everyone is
Yeah.
if one trend picks up or one transition picks up, everyone is doing that and they get content, they get views out of it because
Yeah.
that's trending. But on LinkedIn, that doesn't work like it doesn't work like that.
Right.
So then, what are the challenges that people face?
So the challenges that I see people facing is that firstly, people overthink too much. There's a lot of fear of being judged. What will people say? What
Yeah.
if my family is watching me? And these fears are mainly assumptions, right? Honestly, like nobody is watching you. You're a beginner. You don't have any followers. Really, nobody cares about you.
Yeah.
So there's no point of being fearful about it. That being said, it is a natural reaction. Then there are challenges of people surrounding themselves with a very wrong mindset. They would crib or complain or keep thinking about things are not working out instead of thinking,
Yeah.
okay, what can they do differently? For instance, even as a beginner, I was always in a high ticket market. I never was in that group that would be like, oh, like, do I charge 1 rupee a word, 2 rupee a word? I just never played in that market, but that is something that everyone can do. That is something that everyone has a choice to do. And another issue that I see is that there's not enough self-learning. There's just that, okay, I want to write and make money. Why am I
Yeah.
not making money? Because you're not upskilling, you're not learning. Even something as simple as how to make a proposal on Upwork is on YouTube, but a lot of people are not going to search for it. So there's a lot of inactivity, and then that adds to more cribbing and bringing down the community. So I would say, like, stay away from all of that and
Yeah.
just everything is figure outable, right?
Yeah.
It's not my quote, it's somebody else's, but just YouTube all issues that you have.
So, because we discussed working 4 hours or less than 4 hours per day, how do you manage to stay productive during those 4 hours? Like, if you have to continuously do it for like.
So
3
you
to
don't
4 hours.
continuously do it. So the idea, the science behind deep work versus shallow work is that deep work is when you get in a flow state and you're completely free of distraction. So when I'm working, I don't have my phone with me and I don't have unnecessary tabs open. So when you put yourself in that state, that's when distraction free, which is deep work, that's when
Yeah.
it happens. So according to science, 4 hours of deep work is more powerful than 8 hours of shallow work. So when we used to work in office, there's so many breaks we are taking,
Yeah.
there we are chatting, all of that. But you can get a lot more done in 4 focused hours compared to like 8 semi-focused hours. Also because scientifically your brain has only a limited capacity to think and create, which is why I'm against scrolling, because when you're scrolling, you're firing too many neurons.
Yeah.
But that limited capacity, if that's
Yeah.
going by midday, then the stuff you're doing till night, it's not nearly going to be as good if those neurons were
Yeah.
preserved.
And also that reduces your attention span because you're
Yes.
mindlessly, just like your attention is.
Yes. So that's why that's how the concept of deep work works. There's a book called Deep Work by Cal Newport, which I recommend you, Priyam, and everyone else watching
Dude,
it.
this tabs thingy that she's just said. Like, if I open my laptop right now, there are 3 different browser tabs.
Oh wow.
And 3 different browser has 20 tabs each.
I think I can open like max 4 tabs. Like I need the tabs to be big.
And
The moment they
visible and
start,
readable.
yeah, the moment they start turning small, like I shut them.
Like my laptop has to, I think it's given up on me now, but it has to give me like warnings that, listen, you need to shut your laptop. Like it's like I have to
I
force
don't
quit
leave
things.
any notification also. Like there's not like one unread email or one unread WhatsApp message or one unread text message. Yeah, I don't know how some people have 800 chats. Like
I have
Priyam.
800 unread. I have 800 unread chats on WhatsApp.
That's
800
crazy.
plus.
I don't even think I have those many people who want to talk to me.
so now Niharikaa texts me on iMessage because that's like, and she's like, and this one day, right, recently you were like, I'm feeling so grateful you replied to me.
Because I never knew you have 800 unread chats.
Yeah. It's funny. It's a little funny.
I was unpleasantly shocked.
Unpleasantly shocked. What is funny? Okay. What advice would you give people who are feeling burnt out and are like a victim of this hustle culture, who feel that if I don't do this, I'm not doing enough because they see everyone around them doing it?
Find a definition for enough. Your definition can't be the same as somebody else's. Again, my favorite analogy about this, and I use this a lot for careers, is that 2 people don't like the same pizza. How can like millions of people have the same career path, the same trajectory, the same likes and dislikes, and the same definitions of success and wealth? So find your definition of enough, and it's never going to be enough. That's also one thing, right? There's always going to be millions above you. There's always millions below you. So if you're feeling burnt out, honestly, first delete your social media, and it's going to be very annoying and you'll get very bored, but it's normal to get bored. And I think we're already seeing in kids today who are unable to get bored. They're so reactive and they're so hyperactive, and we are also turning that way.
And their brain is always in hyper mode, like hyperactivity mode.
Even the kids shows, they're made in a way that there are constantly bright pictures and they're always changing, so they're constantly getting dopamine hits. So this is not the dopamine that you need. And also, when you get so used to cheap dopamine, how the hell are you going to work hard when you're going to get everything a swipe away? So you're also losing that ability of delayed gratification, which is extremely important, because you may get a date with a swipe, but you cannot build a career in a few minutes or even in a few months. It will take years.
Yeah.
So you need to develop those traits. And so delete social media. It will be annoying, but find fun things. I think family time is super rejuvenating. There's nothing that makes you feel more fresh than just like
Yeah, and
eating
more
food
fulfilled
or
with.
laughing around, all of that.
Yeah.
So yeah, and don't compare yourself to others.
Yeah, I think that's the one that is the hardest to
I
like
also
achieve.
think one thing that makes it easier is like, okay, you're comparing yourself to that person, but would you change your entire life with them? Because you're
Yeah.
just seeing one part. Cool.
Yeah.
So if you like them for their success, do you like also their childhood, their beginnings, the relationship they have with their
Yeah.
parents, the circumstances they come from, the place that they come from? Then the answer is probably not,
That's true. Yeah.
and I actually spoke about this in one of my newsletters that wasn't a part of Side Hustle Saturdays, but I put it out for fun that I love Shah Rukh Khan, but he lost his parents so young. That is a big tragedy. A lot of us can't even live with the thought of it.
Yes.
Imagine somebody living with decades of it. So if you had to be him today and exchange places, are you willing to make that big of a trade-off
Yeah.
and maybe
You
like
want to
sleep
exchange
outside?
with the him that he's today.
Yes,
And
so
like not his entire
so
journey.
when you ask yourself this question, your answer is usually okay, probably not,
Not. Yeah.
and
Yeah, no.
that'll make you feel better when you compare.
Yeah. I think I just like even though I'm an avid Instagram user and I think it's
Yeah.
my work and personal life both, I hate how normal it is.
Yeah.
I hate that our parents, our dogs,
Yeah.
our house helps, everyone has an Instagram. Everyone knows what's happening. Everyone's living not just for the moment but for a picture. It's just
Yeah,
I think
and that picture is only a nanosecond in which your entire life gets judged. That okay, she probably has a good life because of this picture, or she probably has a sad life because of this photo.
yeah. And so it is so contradictory because this is going to go on Instagram and LinkedIn.
That's okay.
But yes, no. I mean, I think everything's good, in proportion, like in
Yeah.
control. But I think now it's
Everything is okay if you're aware of your action and the consequences that
effect
it
it
has.
has on
Most
you, yeah.
people are not aware of the consequences that they have on their mental health. Or the thing is, it becomes so common to compare. Something like negative self-talk is very common. It was so common in me. And it's not like if I'm saying, oh, like I have love handle, somebody else would say that, oh no. They would also say, oh yeah, and my tummy or my thighs. So it's just so normal to do this. And
Yeah.
your body is the one thing you're going to be with throughout. Your mind is the one thing you're going to be with throughout. But
Yeah.
you're feeding all these things. Nothing good is going to happen to you in life if you're going to feed yourself that. But it's become normalized to do negative self-talk. So when you're aware of these things, it's easier to curb things that cause it.
Yeah. Segueing into my next segment.
Okay.
It's just but I just wanted to talk about both of us really bond. I think you're the one of the only friends I have who I bond with on spirituality and manifestation and how I want life to be and how I want I just want envision life. And this is a very gray area because like some people believe in it, some people don't.
Yeah.
And I know and I've seen you manifesting and practicing and preaching a life. How did that happen? Like what were you always like this, that you always try and see the positive? Like there are days, of course, you're human, there are days
Yeah.
when you complain and you think negatively about a situation and you're like, do I do this, should I do this, is it rude? But
Yeah.
how did that start? And like
Is
how
it true?
is it
Reminded me of something.
but then how do these practices play into your personal and professional
Yeah.
life? And I know you actually take out time to
Yes.
meditate and give
Yeah.
yourself that relaxing period of that time with yourself, which most of us don't do.
Yeah. So I read The Secret when I was 16. I obviously didn't understand it.
Yeah.
I kept reading it. I understood it, but I think it didn't work that well for me. And that's probably because I didn't know the concept of vibrating and vibrations and frequencies. So you need to either say vibrate at a certain level, have a certain level of frequency in order for the energies to respond to you. I know it sounds very voodoo, but what I would just break it down with is that you can't pretend to be okay, I want this and I want my dreams to come true,
Yeah.
but then you're actually thinking like completely away from it.
Yeah.
So I'll give you an example. You can't say I want to be rich but then keep thinking, oh, that person is rich, they're probably doing something evil, or he's just rich because his dad's rich, or only like really evil people make a lot of money, or
Yeah.
money doesn't grow on trees, I should not be too ambitious about it. So if these are your root thoughts, like your
Yeah.
subconscious thoughts, then it's not going to match up. So in order to get something, you need to like be happy and positive. And I think joy is a powerful emotion. I think love is a very, very strong emotion.
Yeah.
And I also think being healthy and being joyful is actually a natural state to be. I don't know why have we humans complicated it so
Yeah.
much. You should be joyful, you should be healthy, but we are becoming unhealthier in our mind and our
And
bodies.
unhappier with our
Yeah.
lives. Yeah.
So I would say read, and this is also scientifically proven in terms of mindset. There's a book called Mindset, that's a good one. There's Unlimited Power by Tony Robbins, which is life changing for me, which is why I'm literally going to attend his event next month.
Oh yeah, she's flying down to New York to attend
Yes.
Tony Robbins event. That's how much you like him, and that's how much of an impact he's had on you.
I mean, his book was the foundation that helped me work on my negative belief systems and negative self-talk and never come on Instagram again, and made me believe in myself enough to even quit my job. So it made me like delusionally confident, which is good.
Which is great.
Yes.
Half of us are struggling with it.
Are you?
I am not.
I think you're good, yeah.
I am not.
Yeah,
I
a lot
think
of
I'm
people
just,
are.
I am delusionally overconfident, is what I think on some days. But do you think like how you think your spirituality, how you want your life to be, also has a part to play on your professional success and
Yeah,
how you did?
100%. The thing is, if things don't work my way, I'm pretty chill with that.
Yeah.
If I
This-
don't get an opportunity I want, I'm pretty chill with that.
Yeah.
And I'm very calm in general, so I'm not going to react that, oh no, this did not work out. Because I just feel that the forces of life work for us, they don't work against us. If something
Yeah.
is not happening, something better will come. And even if it's not the truth, at least it's keeping my heart healthy and it's not breaking my heart, right? So I'm also taking care of myself.
Yeah.
But it has a huge role, because when I was working in my full-time job, I used to actually visualize that I'm just sitting near the mountains on my laptop. I don't even, as such, I'm not a fan of the mountains because I studied there for 5 years. So I don't know why, but I think maybe that picture to me symbolized freedom. And then that was me. And I literally have a photo and I don't carry my laptop, but then this
Yeah.
was such an impromptu holiday that I had to finish something and I carried a laptop, and that thing literally happened. And that is what life is today. So it does have a big, big, big role in my professional life.
And you know, we know you travel a lot. Anybody
Yeah.
who follows you on LinkedIn knows how many holidays you take and then you write about them. How does travel inspire your creativity? End of the day, you are writing, and like
Yeah.
the way you write keeps us hooked. Like
Yeah.
your posts are like, look, too damn long. I would not like. I mean, of course, I have a bias towards you, but I don't
Yes.
know even if I have a bias towards you, it's just the way it keeps me hooked because there's a flow to it,
Yes.
and it comes with practice. So then does travel inspire you? And
So when I traveled solo back in 2018, I actually have a diary entry in Budapest or something that says that I would love to do this someday, and this is all that I do. But then I was, I don't know what, 21, 22.
Yeah.
And obviously then you think this is not real, you need to get a job and all of that. But some seed was already planted, because I was traveling solo, your phone, your battery dies, internet is expensive, so you're not always on your phone, you're always
Yeah.
doing other things.
yeah.
And I spent so much time with myself in a way that made me feel so alive. It made me realize that the world is so big out there and we're such a small part of it, right? So I think, so I'm a very different traveler as well. I am not touristy at all, and I do
Yeah.
not live for the photos. I'm a very different traveler. I'm the kind who would just, and I'm glad I've got a partner who's just the same. That we would just go to random places, random lanes, not give a fuck about what the internet says you should do.
Yeah.
And we just do our own thing because it's just what makes us feel alive. Because even he was a solo traveler before this. The only difference is I didn't drink during my solo travels. I was a good kid. But yeah, so travel plays a big role because I just think it's a self-awareness thing for me, multiplied. And I just like to live that moment like I don't belong there. It just makes you feel a bit fluid. So, yeah, it hugely impacts my ideas and writing because sometimes when you're away from your comfort zone, you also think of things you otherwise would not.
Yeah. And when your mind is free of all the
My mind
daily
is anyway,
activities.
my mind is
You
anyway
are one
pretty
of the
free.
rare
Yeah.
ones, I have to say. But what's next on your travel bucket list? Any destinations that you're dying to go to?
I mean, I am excited to go to New York next
Yeah.
month because I've never been there and I love chick flicks and I love Gossip Girl. So I
Yeah.
really want to see where Chuck and Blair got married. And yeah, so I'm really excited, but it's going to be so cold
It's
and
gonna be
I
cold
really don't
anyway.
like cold.
Yeah.
I think my bucket list destination is definitely like Iceland.
Iceland.
Who,
I
I
knew it,
mean,
yeah.
Iceland
Whose
is
is
in
not?
everyone's
I
bucket
think
list,
so.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I want to visit Iceland, Mexico, and Peru. But Mexico and Peru is really, really, really far. So I don't know when will I ever want to sit on a 40-hour flight where there are 2-3 stops.
Yeah. Since we've known each other for what?
Six, eight, no wait,
Whatever.
2018.
So 6 years now. And we met when we were like literal babies. Yeah, like I'm not counting COVID days, but we were about 22, 23
Yeah,
years old
23.
when we met. And how do you think our friendship has changed over time? And what's the one memory that like you fondly remember? I know what I remember.
So, I mean, how it's changed quite literally is that we met through a friend and that friend is not a part of our lives anymore.
Yeah.
So-
That friend is not. Gender not
That's
saying,
how
no
it's
saying the
like-
gender of the friend.
That's how
Yeah.
it's like literally changed. But I think you're my like it's like, you know, when you reach a point that you don't want to make friends anymore, I think you're the last actually a very close friend that I made.
That's it.
And
This is very tense.
and yeah, and now I don't want and I don't have any close friends who I've made after that.
Yeah.
I think us living close to each other really helped, whether we were, not we, like you were usually driving me around because I don't like to drive,
Yeah.
or meeting for walks when in COVID we could. I think those things really got us close. And again, I think our mindsets are pretty similar. We may have very different behaviors, but I think
Yeah.
our value systems are damn similar.
Yeah, I think that's what bonds us as
Yes.
well. That's true. And what's the one memory you cherish or you remember? I'll talk about this.
But I don't want you to mention the memory.
I'll not mention it in detail. So this LinkedIn top voice featured on the Times Square has done great things and achieved great things. She has a memory of a goldfish. So
Behavior in general. So I am pretty absent-minded, which is
Yeah.
very shocking for my husband that how do you not know this? But then I read somewhere that geniuses are usually absent-minded. So that makes me feel better about myself.
That makes me feel shit about myself. I have an sort of eidetic memory. I remember a lot, and you are the opposite. She forgets. This will happen. She will meet some person, and she'll meet that person 1 hour later. She'll be like, "Who are you?" Excuse me.
Oh, just downstairs I was researching for somebody's name, right? Because they looked familiar, but
Yeah.
their name was saved as somebody's brother because they are somebody's brother. So I just saved it
Yeah,
that
because
way.
you forgot their name and you saved as somebody's brother.
Yeah, and I must have like met them right there and forgotten it
Yeah.
straight away. I don't know, like I just like have things in my mind. I don't know, either it's blank or there are things I'm not
I
even
want
sure
to
of
know
that.
how can you, dude, my mind is never blank. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, should I have to do this? Oh, should I have to do that? It's my mind is just, oh, shit.
So then you just come back to your breath. I mean, if you're ever overwhelmed, you just come back to your breath. So I was talking to this about my husband the other day, and I told him that something about gratitude.
Yeah.
And that, you know, I do it as soon as I wake up, but sometimes I'm falling asleep, then I wake up and I do it again. I write it, that's like once I wake up, but I also like to do it as soon as I wake up as my first thought. And I told him that, you know, one thing I say is I'm very grateful to wake up to another day healthy. And he said, why are you grateful for that? I said, because many people are not, even our age, many people are not.
Yeah.
There are so many issues that even happens with whether it's kids or across age groups, and I do not have that, and I'm very
Yeah.
grateful for it.
Yeah.
So I think coming back to that, or just coming back to your breath, makes you realize that it's okay, it's not the end of the world.
Yeah.
Again, there's a big world out there, and our problems are really small, and we are here for a very finite time. So when you start treating your time and your life as finite, because it is, I think
Yeah.
you will function differently. So at the back of my head, I always have a thought that today is the youngest that I am, and time is very finite. And then that's why I optimize it the way that I do.
Yeah. Since you've been doing LinkedIn and content writing full time for what 3-4 years now,
Yeah.
how has were there any trends? Do you keep a check on the trends on what's
Yeah.
trending, what to write about, and how has the user behavior or consumption changed with consuming content, especially on LinkedIn and Twitter?
So I think there are trends. I just don't follow it because I always have so much to say. So a lot of people, and it's a very smart thing to do, that every 6 months they will repurpose content that worked. I just always have so much to say that so far I haven't repurposed anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that is strange, but I guess it's good.
And with the fact that world is moving towards short form content, you were still
Yeah.
writing long form stuff.
Because I think I also don't like to consume short form content.
Yeah.
Like, even if I sometimes see reels, they're very different in nature. They are not something I
I
would
don't
want
wanna
to.
talk about
Yeah.
the reels she
Yes,
sees.
that's personal.
Very.
It's not something that I would learn from. And every time something preachy comes up, I'm like, no, like
Yeah.
when it comes to like my behaviors with TV and reels, it's escapism.
Yeah.
So I would say that it's okay to follow trends, but if you're uncomfortable with something, then don't do it, because say something like carousel was really trending last year. Everyone with carousels was getting thousands of likes.
Yeah.
It's also a lot of effort. The big names that you see, and I'm in touch with most of them, they have a big team that's doing that. So if you cannot manage it, don't do it. Do what you can do.
Yeah.
And now LinkedIn has put a video button, so that means it will push videos. If you are not comfortable with it, don't do it. It's the same thing how I feel about Instagram. I think, and I've discussed this with you, that sometimes I feel I'm losing money on the table.
Yeah.
I could have maybe been something else.
Yeah.
Okay. But if I just know that if you are here and this is your inner self and you are not aligned,
Yeah.
then the universe will not work for you.
Yeah.
So about trends, the current trend is actually videos are picking up. Visuals are really picking up.
Yeah.
So illustrations are really picking up. That is trending. On Instagram, it's mainly really high value threads, which is something even I'm not doing because I don't have a team who does my content. But by high value, I mean, if you're writing a thread, then if you're talking about somebody, mention a clip of their interview, cut that 30-second clip, then another 30-second clip. That stuff is super hard.
Yeah.
So, but that's the only one that's working right now ever since Twitter became X.
So self-marketing can feel scary if you have to put yourself out there. You have to write about your daily life, what's happening in your life, etc. What are the tips or tricks, or what would your suggestions be for someone who's trying to build a personal brand on LinkedIn and start writing?
So about the scary part, I would say look at it with two perspectives. Firstly, that humans are inherently narcissistic. If you think that they're thinking about you, similarly, they're also thinking that others are thinking about them.
Yeah.
In reality, nobody is thinking about you,
Yeah.
right? The
Yeah.
second thing is actually think of what is the worst that can happen. And I think the biggest answer to this will be that, oh, they are judging. Okay, then what? Then nothing. Like, okay, they're judging, but then so what? People are going to judge anyway.
Yeah.
And yeah, so it's
once you
just
accept
and then is that thought in the head so damn important to you that you don't chase your dreams or do what you have to do?
Yeah.
Probably not. So fears are very easy to overcome when you actually break it down and realize that they're actually not so big. They're just
Yeah.
big in our heads. They're not big in reality.
Yeah.
And about how can somebody start personal branding, I would say show up often and talk about what you know, but don't make it about yourself. Give value to your readers. It's
Yeah.
after very long and after gaining a lot of followers, I started writing about myself, or even some posts that are entirely about me. But that's because I thought, okay, now I have an audience who cares a bit to know about what I am up to.
Yeah.
But I'm also giving them value other 5 times a week if I'm talking once about myself.
Yeah.
So give value, write about what you know, and don't try to be something you're not.
Yeah.
Because if you're going to be just preachy, put no personal experience, personal challenges, or give value to your reader, then nobody's going to read it.
Yeah. And that's what, like, as a marketing person, that's what I've noticed, that people think that, oh, this thing is working for that person, so I'm going to write about that. This thing is working for that person because that person is talking from personal experience and
Yeah.
has something to give away. But you are just trying to copy and
Yeah.
add no to sense of your own.
With copying, I say that analyze what kind of post do you enjoy and then break down the elements. So, for instance, my elements, I love to read a personal story. I love something that's written simply.
Yeah.
I love vulnerability. So, I'm not going to copy their post, but I'm going to see, okay, if these are the elements I like, then maybe I should integrate it in my writing.
Yeah.
So, notice what you enjoy. Even with books, notice what books you enjoy, why do you
Yeah.
enjoy it, and use those elements in your writing. That
Yeah.
helps.
And that not every content piece is meant for everyone.
Exactly.
You're supposed to
Yeah.
scroll past some of them. We live in a world where people consume content so passively, like they're just scrolling
Yeah.
through stuff. How do you make your audience actively engage with your content? Like, be it likes, comments, shares, or like just personally DMing
I
you.
think
Like,
I try to sound interesting, that they would want to read.
Yeah.
And I think my content is also a bit different because I'm never following any trends.
yeah.
And the stuff about travel, that's new as well, because whether it's the places I go to or when I talk about them, I don't talk about them a lot because this is not a travel platform.
Yeah.
But when I do talk about it, everyone usually says that it's a breath of fresh air.
Yeah.
And also my perspectives are very different. A lot of people resonate with what I write. Sometimes they can't even like and comment if I'm shitting on the corporate sector because they have an employer watching them. So that brings in the views.
Lastly, what's next for you? What are the goals and plans for 2025?
Oh wow,
What are you looking
2025.
forward to?
Travel. Might release my solopreneurship course, so let's
Okay.
see.
Yay.
And
Plug.
I actually haven't really planned. Like 2025 is still like, I've planned my travels till April, but I haven't planned like life or work. I guess
is there
that's
anything
okay,
that
right?
you're looking for? That's also okay. Yeah. This is why your mind is khali. This is why there's brain space up there. Because like, हाँ ठीक है जब आएगा तब देख लूँगी.
Yeah,
अभी क्या
so I
करूँ?
know, so I recently started Authentic Influence, which is LinkedIn group coaching. We got a really good response from the first batch. We got really good people working in Google, Amazon, graduated from NYU, MIT, Cornell,
Yeah.
across sectors, engineering, finance, marketing, consultancy. So I now have, in fact, like the second batch just started today. I have a call for that. So I don't know if Authentic Influence will become a thing, but it'll be interesting if it does. It's not something I want to be like always be doing because I
Yeah.
don't like to take calls. So like, because we had so many Zoom calls
Yeah.
at work, so I don't like to take so many calls. But
Yeah.
I think that's the best part about my work, that I get to do what I want to do and when I want to do it.
Yeah.
That being said, it may look very flowery on the outside. The reality is that 3 years later, every month I still never know where my money is coming from, but I just know that it's going to happen.
Yeah. For the people who don't know what is Authentic Influence and
Yeah,
what is
so
this LinkedIn
it's
group coaching?
a group coaching program with 6 people where every week for 12 weeks we talk about how can you grow on LinkedIn and dig really, really, really deep into LinkedIn. Also have a daily Slack group where I edit one post a week for you, which I think is super helpful because you can improve in your journey straight away from feedback instead of figuring it out. So I think what Authentic Influence essentially does is it saves you months of figuring things out, which you're just going to figure out with me. And obviously then there's a networking and engagement aspect, but basically it's a deep dive into LinkedIn over 12 weeks, and it's for super busy people. That's why it's only 1 hour a week of your time.
Okay. And if you could leave us and our listeners, whoever is watching this and listening, with one piece of advice
Yeah.
on finding success and finding your true self while doing that, what would it be?
Start now and figure it out later.
Yeah.
Too many people are so stressed about figuring things out so that they can start something perfectly.
Yeah.
There's no such thing as perfection, and I say this as somebody who had many bosses who loved perfection and I never believed them. So yeah, so just start and then figure it out later, figure it out on the go.
Yeah, don't overthink it.
Yes.
But thank you, Niharikaa, for being
Thank
on
you
the
for
podcast
having me.
today. I loved it. I enjoyed it. I'm so proud of you. I've seen
Same.
you grow from what we were to what we are now,
Same.
and it's been insane. And I can't wait to see the course that comes out, the solopreneurship. We'll keep everyone updated, and for Authentic Influence to grow, and then the regular post. So yeah, keep watching, like, share, subscribe.
Thank you for having me.
Bye.
Like, do I have to like, okay.